All right, so here we are, our 53rd governance meeting. And, we usually start with the stand-ups. I'm excited that we're here together again. So we have some consistency. It's always a beautiful thing. And yeah, I guess we'll just start on stand-ups like we always do. Who wants to go first? I guess I can if nobody wants to. Um, uh, I think one of the more relevant things that we got done finally is looking at that SIP 12 that Drew told us about the last time that we were together. Myself and Juliet, Jason were able to get together and look over some of the more interesting things when it comes to that SIP, when it comes to the costs and congestion. And so that was a beautiful thing to get that out the way and start getting in a rhythm for future SIPs like SIP 11 that we plan to get to already and have looked at before, but we'll get into a similar rhythm for that. Thank you kindly, Jason, for taking the lead on getting that post into the repo. And we also have big news of the residency. Yes, I guess that's really relevant as well. Myself, Haas, and Juliet, Jojo be the leads of the Governance Research and Development Lab, where looks like Dan's here with us. Yeah, welcome, Dan. I was just giving the update on the residency program and that exciting news. Along with your residency, I'm sure you can give us a stand up on that if you'd like. But yeah, this is it's exciting to continue some of the bottom up governance work that we are really, can really articulate how passionate we are about getting that done for the community and ensuring that we have, can't be evil values going forward. Any blockers to that, I guess, would, just figuring out some of the operations going forward. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll probably see the beginning of this lab in action with some of the continued work that we've been doing with Indigenous folks, along with the Stacks Advocates DAO. But I'll end my stand up there and have other folks give theirs if they'd like.
Cool, man. I'll go real quick. I'm really excited to hear about the residency program, and that's starting up. And of course, just excited to see these things kind of come together and move on and everything else. So very cool. Very, very happy to have you guys in those positions. I think you're going to do amazing things. On my side, I have been absolutely slammed. One non-governance related thing is that the New York coin, or New York City coin, which is now alongside Miami Coin, launched today. It actually launched for activation yesterday and it activated today and people have begun mining. So my attention has been very well diverted, but still have some things in mind. So as Harold mentioned, we did get as the Governance Consideration Advisory Board, we were able to review SIP 12 and we came to unanimous approval. Next up on our agenda is to handle SIP 11 and take a look at that. But the fun part about this is we were able to establish the first process. So, the first one's usually the hardest. Everything kind of follow a similar format after that. And just looking forward to that becoming simpler. No other blockers at this time, but over the next 2 weeks, just going to try to get these tasks that I have pending back up to the top of my priorities. And don't have much else to share. So as we're going through, if you see anything that's in the grant backlog for me, I don't have any updates at this time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you kindly, Jason. And no worries, launching a whole New York coin on getting to some of the backlog. We trust you. But yeah, anybody else? Jude, do you want to give an update for us if you have any?
Sure. I wanted to first of all thank this Governance Consideration Advisory Board for taking a look at SIP 12 and for approving it. It means a lot to have you guys on board. After all, the SIP 000 specifies consideration advisory boards in part to check the power of developers to make changes to the system. So having you guys take a look at it and independently determine for yourselves that it's a worthwhile change means a lot to the ecosystem, as well as to me personally. Regarding SIP 11, no worries on getting to that right away. Just because, you know, I know that Jason's super busy, for example. But maybe after SIP 12 activates and we've dealt with any, and we know we have the experience of carrying out our first hard fork, maybe we can take a look at it then. Just so we can have a chance to make any changes to SIP 11 based on the learned experiences that we're imminently going to have.
Okay, beautiful. Will do. Yeah, thank you, Conley, for the heads up and the context of how fast we have to be up for SIP 11. But yeah, thank you, Conley, for the stand up, and of course, thanks for the kind words. I think Jason would be braver. Myself, Juliet, and we learn a lot in those in those sessions when we come together around those SIPs. I know I do. I learn a lot from Jason, especially. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing in a lot of ways. So yeah, Haas, you have anything for us before I bother Dan?
Yep. Yesterday and today, I was working on some onboarding experience to decentralize the work for advocates. So right now, any advocate can give a Stacks community member something called temp advox. I'm sorry for my choice of words. I'm not a marketing person. That would allow that community member to post anything or props to advocate for themselves or express gratitude for somebody else. Instead of myself doing all that work, the advocate can do that on their own right now to onboard other newer advocates. And when they post in the editing or props, they are given the power to evaluate other advocates' contributions. There's some work to do with the source code instance to activate the receiving Stacks rewards, and that's the only part that I don't think that I haven't yet automated, especially because the names in Discord, the people's usernames in Discord can be different from their BTC names, and I'm working on that. Check.
Thank you kindly, man. No, that's beautiful work. Is this all CredBot doing this, or you have other? Because like you said,
it's a custom script I have published in the open discussion channel.
Mhm.
It's currently using the PolicyKit token because it has the power to give and remove roles that are under CM2, I think. But yeah, that's it's not under. It's just a custom script, different from CredBot. CredBot is doing some other stuff.
Wow, that's I mean, and there's a lot of that flow, like you said, taken away from yourself or anybody else that would come into that maintenance. That's a beautiful thing, man. A whole lot of work, I'd imagine. If the rewards can be that'd be even more. But as you said,
it's just like activating their accounts to receive grain.
Right.
But that's about it. As I said, the only difficulty is just like capturing their BTC name, but I'm working on ideas to do that.
Beautiful, beautiful. You got me excited now. I'll move on. Dan, you have anything for us? Any stand-ups, any updates?
Nothing governance related, just questions.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Yeah, we can get into your questions, I'd imagine, with some of, if it comes up relevant to any foundation updates or action items or what have you. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's go into any foundation updates. I don't know if anybody here have any insights there. We might just move along. What do y'all think?
Nothing comes to mind for me.
Okay. All right. Unless you had any questions there, Dan. about the, let's go on to action items. Yeah, I think this is a part of that work that Jude was referencing at the beginning, where they're continuing to organize different cabs. I'm not mistaken about this, Jason.
Yeah, or actually, I think it was on setting up multiple cabs. So following the governance cab example, I think the next two that had people interested were the ethics and
Diversity.
diversity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think this is still an ongoing thing. Maybe Jenny can give us an update whenever we can catch her again. But let's move right along. See if we can get to Dan's questions. The code of conduct, I think, is something Juliet had been working on. I know that myself, Haas, and Jojo Ryder have also been working on a advocate-specific code of conduct to go along with this general one that Juliet has been working on. And I also know that we're rounding off on being able to, if Juliet is ready for the public review of her latest version of the code of conduct. I think she put it out there one time before, but we can start doing some decision making around that with some of the tools that myself and Haas have started to put together. This may be a little bit down the line. Haas, what do you think? How do you feel about getting some decision making in the near future around code of conduct, if Juliet's ready, or maybe we can do it with Jojo's version for the source code stuff and advocate stuff.
So at the moment we have the formal proposals process, and it's kind of closed off except to advocates. So I'm not sure, because this is going to be like a whole, something for the whole community. But what we can do is just like signal the advocates saying, okay, we like this, maybe through the consensus process that we have.
Right. Yeah, at least we'll get something going there. I guess we'll have to catch up with Juliet, see how she feels about the general one. I know that was in the plans though for a while. If we have any questions on this, we can stay here a little bit, but we can go on as well. So I guess this is goes right along with it. I guess it's good for these to stay on here, Jason, just to get updates on where we are with it, like we just had. I know I have some Discord posts that kept folks updated on how we're thinking about decision making even deeper. But as Haas said, I think the most recent updates when it comes to that is the formal decision making channels in the Stacks Advocates, and we plan to get some flows around that to make that a little bit tighter as well, so we don't have too many blockers when it comes to it working for folks. Yeah, for now we just have testing of the tools out pretty much in that channel, but yeah, I think we're right on the cusp of being able to bring folks together in some really unique decision making. Any questions around this at all? And do we need to keep this one up? Remembering that we made a vote on this, Jason. This is branding.
Yeah, this one is just waiting for me to implement it. So we can, like, nothing else to cover. The vote was made. We're good to go. I think option one there was the winner, and then now it just needs to be put into some of those assets that are on the web. And if moving forward, you need to grab a logo for something like a document or something similar, this would be the one that we all agreed on.
All right. Okay. And this is backlog GitHub pages that you mentioned to us before, Jason. Thank you kindly for having it labeled like this. Yeah, So I guess we're in discussion already. And yeah, we have the update on the governance lab earlier. Again, if there's any questions on this, this would be the time, and we're in discussion. And yeah, I think we talked in the last meeting about bounties for recurring tasks. We've had some interesting meetings with the Advocates Program. It's what I was making a comment on here, Jason. We had an idea of being able to do some unique things with some of the informal organization or governance that is possible to branch off of the formal that we want to introduce to folks soon. And it's essentially a consensus flow that would allow folks to be pinged who's necessary to be pinged, and PolicyKit won't allow folks to dissent who shouldn't be able to dissent in the formal decision making. But in the informal, we can do a slightly modified version that pings people based on deeper functions than their more specific discipline or skill set or background in the ecosystem. Speak to like what function, what deeper, more, I guess, fundamental functions do they find themselves attracted to in contributing in this way in the ecosystem, and pinging folks based on this with some of the discussion we've been having for task creation, and leaving a window of opportunity for folks to tag along into different bounties that created, making sure that the bounties are accessible in language and whatnot, and hopefully incentivizing beyond just the monies in the bounties, and really creating an incentive of collaboration or innovation, even in lack of repeated bounty creation because of the cohesiveness of the organization. But this is just a convoluted way of saying that I'm excited for what this may bring to the Advocates Program. I know we've been thinking about it for a while, Jason, and with the combination of these tools, I'm starting to get really excited for how we can start to bring what could be disparate parts of the ecosystem together through that meta organization that I described briefly. But yeah, if there's no more discussion on this, I'll shut up quickly.
No, I just have to say, like, definitely having a way to like incentivize people for their time, but also to bring them into the community and do a little more than, like you were saying, just chasing the bounty or anything like that is a huge win overall. So just excited to hear the update on that, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, maybe we'll get something documented soon from some more meetings we can have with the advocates. We started to discuss it a little bit already with some of the folks, but yeah, maybe we'll have something else soon for folks to look at. But yeah, if there's no more discussion there, we'll move on. I know we have meeting notes cleanup that you've spoken on before, Jason. I don't know if you wanted to say anything to give folks an update.
Nothing to add, really. Just that it needs to be done, and that one I got to just catch up with Jenny on getting links to some of these past calls. And now for the last few, I'll be reaching out to you as well, because we typically take those recordings and put them on YouTube, but we've fallen pretty far behind at this point, and it's one of those tasks that I would love to look at through the lens of a bounty program or something similar, to where people could get rewarded to help us keep up to date.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more future thinking. This is just more getting things caught up and just needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you kindly, man. Yeah, we had some updates here that I haven't gotten to post for y'all, largely because I don't have access to the recording that I want to give you, but there was some recent workshops that the Longhouse did around hempcrete bricks, and they're starting to work with some architects in their area that they've known for quite some time, architects interested in sustainable architecture and construction, and they're on their way. They already have a GoFundMe and a crowdfunding setup that maybe I'll include here for folks if they're interested, for building a longhouse up there in their grounds in Ganawage near Quebec. And so yes, this is an exciting update that I'd love to get for you guys. So I'll probably put this in there, but that'll go into a lot of what we'll be doing in the governance lab as well, in terms of connecting these Stacks tools and these DAO tools to real world impact. So I'll be excited to update y'all there. And yeah, whatever questions or discussion comes from this, we can take some time if you'd like. Let's see. So we talked about boundaries a little bit, and its backlog, meeting secretary, fire chat. We've all discussed these things before a little bit. Dan, I know you had some questions. Let's just get to there. I'm excited to hear.
Not too exciting. I was actually, just because Jude mentioned the cab approval, I was looking for information on the process if there's not a cab approval, but I'm reading now, so I actually don't have any questions at this point.
Okay, cool. Beautiful. All right.
I think that's my favorite, when the questions resolve themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, getting off your ass and just reading stuff, is a big help.
Thank you kindly for getting that together, Jason.
I think we're all learning together, to that point, Dan. And this was the first one that we did as a group, and we're kind of defining that process. So definitely, if there's any feedback or questions, we're all very open to help with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, I guess we can just open up to any discussion, any burning discussion that we want to have amongst each other. I know Jenny's not here, but yeah, she mentioned in the thread that with this new governance lab residency, we can start to, if we wanted to, Jason, I wouldn't want to do it without you or Jude, anybody here that's been with us, Dan, like any other structure that you guys would like, or additions to these meetings. I kind of gotten used to them, to be honest, but yeah, we can really start to think about, opening these up to more folks that we have before. But if we want to make any structural changes or anything like this, Jenny was mentioning, that's one of the things that can come with the residency is turning this into something that brings folks into that Gov Lab work. So yeah, I just thought that might be a good thing to discuss if y'all are interested.
So I know from my side, I like what we have now because it works. But I know that we've always run into the issue of like a lot of discussion and not a lot of action.
Mhm.
And a perfect example of that is me just not having the time to dedicate to these things that I want to get done. And of course, every time I have to report on a call, I feel like, wow, I wish I got a little more time to do that. So maybe something to just help keep up the accountability there, or, in discussion. And of course, if there's anything that we do want to change in the structure, very open-minded to that as well. We set this up just to work for our use case when we started way far back.
Mhm.
So, I do think things should evolve and change, and I'm open to change as well. I
Mhm.
don't have any specific things I would change at this time. Like, I think the 2-week cadence is good. I think the fact that we do cover foundation updates, action items, discussion items, it feels like that structure is good. But just how to, actually get to our goals, or how to just keep things moving rather than allowing them to get stagnant is definitely an open question in my mind.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, we know why. Why some of the work. I mean, you've also done most of the work in the repo, so I think we understand that it's just you being a beast in all over the board. So, but yeah, I see what you're saying there. But yeah, I wouldn't change anything either. I kind of like this flow. But I mean, we kind of already have built into the sessions that we kind of open it up for what we're doing now, which is just talking. And that's pretty much the only thing that maybe we can we can emphasize just, some sense making at the end of these sessions about general governance or something like this. Maybe any, just some discussion starters maybe for especially for the rare chance that new folks do come in, that there's a opportunity for them to have some input and maybe incentivize them to come back with some good dialogue. I don't know, but yeah, I really like what the bases we cover, and I like the way that you've got this workflow down for making sure all these important things are documented and tagged, and yeah, it's organized nicely. I dig it now. I've learned a lot about GitHub in the process. But yeah, is anything else general governance that folks are interested in talking about before we leave each other? Dan, I know you've been indirectly passionate and directly passionate at times, helping us in advocates and pushing myself along, I know, with a whole lot of votes of confidence. And yeah, I mean, we're excited for this GovLab. So this is the one of the first meetings since that's been on the way. So anything you want to scare us about in terms of responsibilities?
No, I would ask what you guys need, actually. I mean, I know that's kind of the point of this whole meeting, but if there's anything specific that you guys need, keep in mind that I hoping to free up some more time here soon, and so I'm happy to help where I can.
Yeah, well, thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, well, I know, Haz, what do you think? I know one of the things that's top of my mind when you ask that question is, we really want to grow the advocates in a fairly intentional way with, including important leaders in the ecosystem. So I know that, yourself and Jason, and a lot of folks, Haz, are pretty active around the ecosystem. So if there's any, I guess, folks that you want to send the advocates' way, and so that we can get folks used to some of the flows and core values and all the things that we want to preserve going forward. And also, I think it helps with an intentional type of scaling as opposed to, not so intentional. So that's one of the things we've been thinking about, right, Haz? Is there anything else that comes to mind? So like chapters, leads, and things like this, we want to involve them in what we're doing.
Names that come to mind are Leo Prado, I think, from Siegel or Cycle, and Philip, for sure. But it's the same thing from Arcadico. But I think it's self-dependent on the separation of the extrinsic versus intrinsic value of the advocates program, and I think we're working towards that, especially with community growth. That is kind of organic, and the discussions that are being had in the program, in the community, in the advocates community. But I think there is definitely a need for some changes to make it easier for everyone to, be valued. That's one thing, and also to recognize actual contributors to Stacks, not just like either I don't know, shit posters, or I am a shit poster, but or people who are just like, who aren't believing in Stacks vision, and mostly, yeah, it's definitely a challenge that we're gonna have to face very soon.
Yeah, especially with growth. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things has me thinking about, some quality leadership from the ecosystem, kind of making sure that goes as smoothly as possible. just by just knowing what's going on at least. So, and knowing, you know, the different paths that can be taken, different flows that can be engaged that we've been working on, and hopefully can get into PolicyKit. But more importantly, folks can really start to organize themselves around flexibly. But yeah, if that makes any sense, Dan. Thank you, Connie, for the extended hand. But yeah, if there's anything else y'all want to discuss, we can take the time, or we can get some time back for y'all mornings. Thank you, Connie, for your time today. And I'm glad we caught each other, were able to sync up this morning or evening for you, Haas.
And whatever time it is for you, Haas, right?
It's 9.
It's nice. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you all. Thank you for the time. And you know, as always, I'll see you around.
All right. Yeah. Let's get down. Okay.
Thanks a lot, y'all.
All right. Beautiful. Have a good day, y'all.